Hello everybody, and welcome back to our next lesson. We're on lesson number 7 right now. So you should have your worksheets in front of you. Get ready to jump on in. Hope you're ready. This is a really fun one, but hopefully it'll be a quick one because the lesson's title is this: Connectors do the difficult work of keeping it simple. So let's talk about my favorite subject, which is simplicity. I love simplicity. I love simple people. This lesson is really just right up my alley. I'm not a complicated individual. I'm not an academic individual. I'm just a very simplistic individual. When I was in school, I did okay. In school, I did average, maybe above average. But to be very honest, and in all due respect to teachers out there everywhere, I just felt like school was just a boring deal to me. Because I'm not a brain smart individual. I'm a simplistic individual. And because of that, I really love the fact that you can communicate in such a way that and connect in such a way that people can understand you and that it's simple. I love that. As a matter of fact, the best compliment usually if I'm speaking or if I'm in a small group or doing anything that I'm leading that I could receive is that when someone comes up and thanks me and says, "Hey, thank you. I understood everything you just said." That's a great compliment for me because it tells me that I'm keeping it simple and that people can get what I'm talking about. When I was younger, several years ago, I was taught that if you're going to speak, if you have something to say, you got to make sure that it's really deep and that it's really thought-provoking. So when I used to speak, I would come up with topics and I would come up with points and I would get so deep and it was like I was a professor. It was like I was trying to become super brilliant. But remember those words, trying to become super brilliant. As a matter of fact, people say, well, how could you accomplish so much at such a young age? And how could you do so much at the age that you're at right now? And I simply say this. I say I just have a lot of high energy in my life, but I have a low IQ. And that's just me to a T. I am high energy, but I am just low IQ. Raise your hands if you've ever known somebody or heard a message or somebody who talked and you just lost them at the very first thing they said. Just raise your hand. And the very first thing they said, you just were like, it was just right over your head, one ear and out the other. Or maybe when a speaker, before they even got into their message and what they had to say, they lost you at the title. How's this for a title? I heard this title. How's this? I wrote this down. The incompatibility of sin and sonship. The incompatibility of sin and sonship. When I first looked at that, I said, oh my gosh, I'm not going to understand what that means, let alone get into it. You see, I'm just not a complex person. When it comes down to it, I am very, very simple. As a matter of fact, you have to be brilliant to confuse people, and that's not me. What I've discovered is that life is really hard, especially nowadays. Life is hard, so I have to deliver it easily. It's hard to apply things to your life, so let's just keep it simple. Keep it easy. If people, when you're talking to them and you're communicating to them in a large group, a small group, even one-on-one when you're trying to connect with somebody, if they can't get their hands around what you're trying to say, they'll never ever learn how to apply it to their life. So if you want to help them to have a better chance of learning from you, applying what you're saying to them, you have to keep it simple. In your notes here, Ralph Waldo Emerson said it best. To be simple is to be great. So we wrote down here my criteria for good material. This is my criteria for good material. When you communicate, when you connect, you must have these. These are not just words. These are attitudes. These are feelings. These are thoughts and emotions. Number one in your notes, you have to have humor. Something that will make people laugh. Laughter, right? Isn't this what they always say? Laughter is the universal language. Number two, you have to have heart. Something that will captivate people's emotions. You remember back in a couple of lessons ago, we remember John Connor, who in a past lesson, he said, what do we fight for? The heart and the mind. And remember The heart comes first. You remember that from a past lesson. We need heart. Number 3, we need hope. We need to communicate hope to people. These are some things we must have, something that will inspire people. And last is help, something that will help people in some tangible way to either change their lives or help them to do better. We have to have these 4 things in order to connect and communicate with people. So I would say this, simple is good, right? Simple is good. We want to bring it down to a level where people can simply just understand what you're saying. It doesn't matter where you are, where you've come from, what your profession is, what kind of degrees you have, and how academic, how brilliant you are. If you want to connect with people, you've got to bring it down to their level. But, you know, when we're connecting, words can be confusing, right? As a matter of fact, I have a little sheet here that I kind of typed up and made a few notes on. These are some signs. So in different people's travels around the world, you know, these are actual signage that people have put out in front of their businesses. At a Bangkok dry cleaners, there was a sign that said this: drop your trousers for best results. I don't want to think about that. In a Tokyo hotel, there was a sign that said, it is forbidden to steal hotel towels. If you are not a person to do such things, please do not read this notice. I like that one. In a Rome laundry, the sign that said, ladies, leave your clothes here and spend the afternoon having fun. In an Acapulco hotel, there was a sign that read, the manager has personally passed all the water served here. I think I would probably check out if I saw that sign. Not a good one, right? The last one, there was a tailor shop, a simple tailor shop. There was a sign that said, order your summer suit here because it's a big rush and we will execute customers in strict rotation. Can you just imagine? You're thinking, bang, bang. I mean, you know, words can be confusing, can't they? So we have to keep it simple. You know, this is part of John's message here. He says, and you're back into your notes, after speaking in over 50 different countries and hundreds of different venues, he's developed a 3S strategy. First thing is to keep it simple. That's what we're talking about. Keep it simple. Next is to say it slowly. And last is to always have a smile. 3 things. It's as simple as that. If you want to communicate, you want to connect with people, keep it simple, say it slow, and always have a smile, and you'll always do well. So the art of simplicity, we're going to go back into your notes here, and how do we keep it simple when we want to connect? How do we get to simple when we connect or communicate with people? Well, this is truly an art form. It's obviously something that some of us have to learn, so we have a few points that we're going to go into. Number 1, talk to people and not above them. We always have to talk to them. Have a good relationship with them. No, don't pretend like you're always above people. That was part of another lesson that talked about ego. Number 2, get to the point. Get straight to the point. Sometimes we talk so much and we ramble on so much that, matter of fact, in your notes here, connectors get to the point before listeners start even asking, hey, what's the point? Right? So just get to the point. And there's a few things that you can read there, which I think is really good. You can read that on your own time. We're going to skip down to number 3. Say it over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. Why? Because vision leaks. The first time you say something, and this is completely true, you might want to really take note of this. The first time you say something, it's heard, isn't it? The second time you say something, it's now recognized. And then the third time you say something, it's because it's now learned. So the more you say it, the more that leaks out. You just got to say it and repeat the same thing over and over, and people will connect. They will get what you're talking about. Number 4, in your notes, say it clearly. Have an understanding so there won't be a misunderstanding. And number 5, you'll notice there's no notes under this one. Say less. Just say less. So the art of simplicity. It's simple, actually. The art of simplicity. How do we keep things simple so that we can connect with people, or when we're connecting with people? We have to do these 5 things. Talk to people. Just get to the point. Say it clearly. Say it over and over and over and over again. and just say less. You know, in the last century, there was a man who just had arguably the greatest speeches out there. His name was Winston Churchill. You know Winston Churchill. And you know the speech that he's famous for, that he's best known for. The speech it goes like this: never, never, never give up. That's it. That was his speech that he was probably the most famous for. Never, never, never give up. It's that simple. So if you want to connect with people, connectors and good connectors realize that they have to keep their communication and their connecting simple. Thanks so much, and we'll see you in lesson number 8.